If you're going to buy one book this year with a cat on the cover, make it be mine, called Have Space Cat Will Travel. If you're going to buy two books this year with a cat on the cover, the other one should be John Scalzi's Starter Villain. And if I'm going to be real, Starter Villain's probably better than mine. It's certainly more cohesive because it's a novel and mine's a collection of short stories and poetry. I loved Starter Villain. I listened to the whole thing, start to finish, on one long road trip. I was driving from Charlotte to New Jersey for a convention a few weeks ago, and my Audible credits had just reset. So I loaded up my phone with a pile of audiobooks and got in the car, pushed play on Starter Villain, and by the time I pulled into the hotel in Philly, or technically in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. By the time I pulled into the hotel, the book was done. It was great. Will Wheaton did a fantastic job narrating, as always. He does a fantastic... He's the perfect narrator for John Scalzi, because they're both snarky guys. Will has a great kind of sideways snarky tone to a lot of his voice, and especially with some of the protagonists that Scalzi's been writing lately, which are these, oh my God, what in the world is going on? How am I in this? And now how do I survive? Characters. Will has the perfect voice for that narrative style. So they're a great tandem. I highly recommend getting any of John's books that Will has narrated on audio. Now, before I go any further, I should go ahead and lay it out here. I'm a Scalzi fan. I have been a fan of his for a long time. I really enjoyed Old Man's War. I loved, God, what all of his have I read and loved? Lock-In, I loved. Head On, I loved. Kaiju Preservation Society, The Last Emperor, Collapsing Empire. I lose track of names because I did a lot of drugs in the 90s and I'm old. So I'm a Scalzi fan already, and I like him as a human. So I was predisposed to like this going in, and there was a cat on the cover. So what could make it even better? Oh yeah, the book is good. It's very much a closed world book in that our protagonist is a down on his luck schmo, middle-aged divorced guy with no prospects, no money, no luck, no real future, honestly. He's a divorced substitute teacher getting turned down for a business loan at the beginning of the book. And then he finds out his uncle died. His uncle, who he hadn't seen in decades since his mother's funeral. And later on, he finds out that his uncle left billions to him. Then things get weird, because people show up to the visitation for his uncle and try to stab the corpse, just to make sure he's really dead. Then they're looking to take DNA samples to make sure it's really him and he's really dead. So then things get weird. Turns out Uncle was a supervillain and like leveraged against this cabal of other supervillains, complete with Volcano Lair. There's a frickin' Volcano Lair. And talking cats. Do you really need anything else? I mean, there's a cat on the cover. There's talking cats in the book. John Scalzi's funny as shit. Do you need to know anything else? Probably not. It's a quick read. The audiobook was a little over 8 hours, so I would expect the book's probably around 75,000 words. So it's not a very big book. It's a perfect weekend read. Scalzi is he is the literary equivalent of a popcorn movie. You love it, you enjoy rewatching it, and you read it and you're like, that was fun. And then you go on with life. Yes, there are absolutely emotional moments. I certainly shed a tear or two over the course of the book. And John has done work that definitely resonates with people. Please don't take my positioning him as a popcorn novel as an insult. I strive to write popcorn novels. It's a beach read, except that I'm shooting this the last of November, so half of the globe, it's cold. Don't go to the beach. But if you're on a long road trip, if you have holiday gatherings where you don't want to listen to Uncle Frank and you want to put an AirPod in and listen to a funny book, listen to Starter Villain. I think that it's just fantastic. I loved every minute of it. The talking cats are great. The protagonist is, like so many of Scalzi's characters, the protagonist is delightfully flawed. He does not, by any stretch, have his shit together. It is just like if a normal person got dropped into a world where there are frickin' supervillains and talking cats. That's exactly how this guy reacts, just like you or I would. So, Scalzi knocked it out of the park again. No surprise. It's like, yeah, John Scalzi released a new book. It's super fun. You'll really love it. That's kind of like saying, oh, look, Brandon Sanderson released a new book. It's really big, and the magic system is really complex and dialed in. These are our given circumstances, folks. I don't know when John's written. I don't know when he's published a bad book. I don't know if he's written any bad books. But everything I've read of his, I've enjoyed. Starter Villain is no different. Pick it up. You'll love it. If you get the audio, Will Wheaton does a great job narrating, and there's a floofy cat. What more do you want?